Well, dang, that's a good looking intake manifold. Exclude the wrapper over it. And what we got here? We got some nitros. Heck yeah, brother. Let's hit it. Welcome back to Baseline Car Channel. Today's episode, we're gonna be working on this Mustang. Heck a cool project. So let's get right into it. I'm gonna start off this video with the awesome intake that you guys saw in the intro. And I'm gonna show you guys how it came together. Assembly of the intake coming right up, and then we'll walk through it and see what we're gonna do today. Let's get right into it. Alright guys, so here's what we got. So we got here an intake. This is a nitros. This is a purge valve or purge solenoid. This is nitro solenoid. I'm also missing a fuel solenoid. But as you guys can see, my injectors came back and they came out pretty good. Except two of them. They all checked out pretty well. Except two of them, which I have right here. Let me show you guys right here. So these two did not have a perfect flow or good enough flow. So I had to replace these two. And the rest of them were good. The fuel rail has been redone, as you guys could see in the previous clip. I have redone all the lines and connectors and everything. So today's goal is to get this thing installed. I have a steel braided line right here, and we're gonna try to install the whole fuel system. I also have a 40 micron, I believe 40 or less. I don't remember how many micron this is, or 10 micron, but this is a fuel filter that I want to install inline. I'm missing one more of these, but I'll get this shortly, and I should be able to connect all the fuel system. If not, I can finish some other day, but let's get started and let's start installing these parts. Awesome parts that should make some power. So here's the goal. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna take a steel braided line, feed it through here underneath the car, all the way to, let me show you guys, in the back seat somewhere over here. Figure out how to pop the seat up. Oh, there we go. So all the way to here, and this is gonna be my feed line. This is where the fuel pump is, and this is a return line. I'm gonna replace this line with the steel braided line as well, just so I don't have the risk of burning this car again. So let's get right into it. Feed the line first, and somewhere in the middle I want to install the little filter. Alright, so I have ran the whole line all the way underneath, all the way to the fuel pump, and then to figure out the space where I'm gonna install the filter, which is gonna be right here. I marked it on the line, then I'm gonna pull this line out, marked it right here. I'm just gonna chop it off, and this is where I'm gonna install my fuel filter, the blue fuel filter, or the black one right there. Yeah, I'm gonna install it right here in a pretty safe spot, and after that we're gonna feed it all the way to the intake. Boom. So this is how it's gonna look. I got the steel braided connector line connected. This is a connector, and then I just screw this filter in, and that's how it's gonna be. So I'm gonna redo one. I'm gonna add one more end to this side and just feed it all the way there and trying to secure it. I don't have this blue connector yet, but I'll get that one ordered. That's not a big deal. I'll get that one coming in very soon. I'll probably just swing by a store and pick it up, so that's not a problem. But as of right now, I gotta do the other side and then feed both sides and secure all this line. Alright guys, so now that I ran the line all the way to here, I'm pretty much ready to install the intake and see where that connector right there, let me show you guys, right here is going to be connecting. So let me put the intake over and then I should be able to tell. Oh dang, check this out. That looks cool, hecka cool. I don't want to pull this thing off. This is like a pleasure to remove, but I don't want to remove this yet just because I don't want to mess up the surface. But this thing will look so much better if I took this plastic off. I just don't want to do it right now. But yeah, check this out. This thing sits so high. It's like sitting right above engine bay. Like, this engine got packed really quickly. So here's what I got. I got the intake just placed in. I didn't bolt it in. I just kind of put it in its place. I marked the line where I need to cut it. So I'm just going to cut this line, connect this connector right here, and probably work on my return line. And later on, once I install everything of this, I'm probably just gonna run all the boost lines to this throttle body. Alright, so this side is all installed. I tell you what, this is really difficult. This is really crowded place and it's really tight. I mean, you guys can see how this pipe is all twisted. I might cut it up a little more. I haven't tightened these clamps yet. But yeah, I scratch all my hands and all this trying to get these pipes and everything in. So yeah, I'm probably gonna have to adjust this a little bit more, but I think it's pretty much set. Moving on to the other side with this pipe and these clamps. I got 3.5 inch clamps that go right here and on and over, all the way over there. So let's keep moving. Guys, so quickly I'm gonna brief you guys what I have done here or what I'm doing here. So I took the new coupler, and to know exactly how to cut it or how it was before, I took the old coupler, just kind of matched it with the new one and cut it pretty much the same way, and then, you know, just kind of put it back in. So over here we got it all settled. I don't have this clamp yet on, and then I ran this pipe, and then I use old coupler to kind of create or match my angle and all this, because I didn't know what angle I'm gonna be at and how it's gonna match and how I wanted to route this whole pipe thing, how short I want to cut it and all that. So I kind of use the old coupler just to experiment. And don't worry guys, I'm a razor blade certified. I know how to cut myself properly. So yeah, so this is all we got to do. I think I'm gonna leave it like that. I think that's pretty good combination or pretty good angle that I want to leave it at. It doesn't touch anything that it shouldn't touch. I mean, it's kind of supporting against the line right here. So I think I'm just gonna leave it like that and just recreate this coupler with the new one, so I don't have to leave this burned up one. Alright guys, so as far as fuel regulator, pressure regulator, this is my original automotive fuel regulator. I took it apart. I gotta change the gauge. I bought a new one and then I messed it up. But as you guys can see, I cleaned it up pretty well. It's all good. And what I did, I ordered this kit from Aeromotive. There's a bolt and there's a diaphragm. How do I know which diaphragm it is? Well, basically by this thing and that inside thing right there in the middle is the same, so it's definitely the same diameter, same everything. I was able to match it, and I'm just gonna have to assemble it right now. I cleaned it all up already, so let's just assemble it, and then this thing should be good to go, except the gauge. I'm gonna have to change this one as well. Guys, so I don't have a time lapse how I installed this thing because it took a little while. I had to rebuild this Aeromotive fuel pressure regulator. I had to put a new diaphragm in. I had to clean it up, all this. I gotta change the gauge because this thing itself is around 250 bucks. The cost of rebuilding it is around 30 to 40 bucks. So I chose to rebuild this thing. It looks pretty alright. It looks pretty cool, actually a little bit toasted, which is fine. I still gotta get this thing, which is coming in mail, and it's gonna be all good. So as far as that's the update on the fuel regulator. I'm gonna change these fittings. I'm gonna put the steel braided secure fittings, the ones that not gonna leak or cause another fuel leak, because I believe these fittings were the cause of the fire that caused all of this. But here's the update that I have on the car. So as you guys could see, the car is in the new location. It's been before over there under leaves and sleeves and whatever on the weather. Right now we have it in the garage. Me and my dad, we built this garage and it looks pretty cool. It's still not finished, but it's in the process. So the update on that, and the reason I had to move the car is because I had to take the car to the dealer to program my ECM. As you guys remember from previous episodes, I had new ECM replaced. The old one was toasted, so I had to buy a new one, replaced it, and then I took it to dealer to program it. And while I was at the dealer, we ran into a serious problem that we discovered along the way. So underneath the driver, or underneath the steering wheel, there is a big pack of wires. And when this thing was all on fire, as you guys could see right here, the windshield got a little cooked. Basically, some of the heat got inside the car, heated up the panel or dash panel behind it, and melted some of the wires, actually a whole pack of wires. So I'm gonna try to put a picture right here on the side so you guys could see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I had to sort these wires out. I had to fix all that. After that, I took it to dealer again. And at the dealer, they were able to program my ECU and all that stuff. So that's all taken care of. Then I brought the car back. And right now, I want to install or finish installing the fuel line system. So I'm going to change these connectors first and then run the lines over here and down and get this thing figured out and finish all this fuel system. As for my fittings and for my fuel line, so I have 8 AN right here, or is it 6? I'm not sure which one it is. Let me double check. Well, it doesn't say here, but yeah, I believe this is 6 AN. 8 AN is the feed line. 6 AN is the return line, and what I'm gonna do right now is connect these two to the fuel regulator, and this one goes in the fuel tank. Why I chose this color? First of all, because they were available, and because these are going to be different from the feed line, so I'll know which one is a return, which one is feed line, or somebody else would know, if anything, for the future. So let's get right into it. Let's start cutting and installing these fittings to make sure they're all secure and good to go. things I've done here. So what we have here, I connected this 90-degree AN fitting to my fuel rail. This is gonna be my return line, and I ran it all the way to here, connected to the fuel regulator. Then what this regulator is gonna do is control how much fuel is going back. So basically, if I have it open all the way, it's gonna send all the fuel back. If I have it cranked up down, it's gonna send less fuel, but nevertheless it's gonna do its job to controlling the fuel pressure inside. I'm gonna change this later on, as I said before. And then after this, I ran the line all the way to the fuel tank, and I replaced all these fittings from these are basically you slide the hose over it and then you put a fastener over it, which is kind of risky because I think that's what caused the fuel leak. One of these came off and caused all this problem. So nevertheless, I got this one ran down all the way to the bottom, fed it through the inside just like the feed line. I have it running right there to the bottom, and basically all the way over here, this is my return line, this is my feed line. This one's a little bit thicker. This is 8 AN, this is 6 AN. Need less fuel to come back than go in, but this should be all. This is an old line that I'm just gonna remove later on. It's just hanging right here, but it's pretty much all that comes to a fuel system. So we're ready to move on and move to the next thing. All right guys, so up next we have a wastegate right here, and this is a blow-off valve. So both of these products were Turbo Smart. As you guys can see right here, it still has a T as a Turbo Smart, but on the top of it, it doesn't say Turbo Smart. No, so is this one. Let me show you guys the original. So this is the original Turbo Smart, wastegate, blah blah blah, whatever. So here's the story. I had this one installed on top of this housing right there like that, but I stripped the whole, what you call it, band thread or whatever. So basically this thing was no good. To buy a new one or to buy the whole thing, it was around $350–400. So what I decided to do is to take and buy a Chinese version or a knockoff version of basically blow-off valve and a wastegate. And what I did, I just swapped the outer shell of it. Let me show you guys. So this is my original housing. This is basically Chinese or knockoff or off-brand housing. It looks very identical, it looks very the same. So pretty much the same thing, I just didn't want to clean in all this. Same thing for the outer side. This is the original one, this is the knockoff one, but looks the same. It was able to swap everything. As far as internals, I left the original ones in. I left the original spring inside, and I just took out the diaphragm from the Chinese one and put in this one. So it pretty much does the job. I kind of just made half Chinese, half Turbo Smart product, which kind of looks pretty cool, and it saved me around what, $200 on each. Hopefully this idea works for me, but as of right now, I gotta get these things installed. I'm probably just gonna install the what do you call it, blow-off valve over here, just like that. And the wastegate goes over here, and it's supposed to bleed off some of the boost. Let me show you guys how it goes. Kind of goes upside down like this, right here. And the point of this, usually you run these things on exhaust system of a turbo system, but in my case, I'm going to be bleeding some of the boost when I'm going to be running on 93, and when I'm going to be on E85 and full power mode with nitros, then this thing's going to be completely closed and it's not going to be effective. And how I'm going to control this is by this boost controller right here. So pretty much that's the whole setup. So I'm not going to install this at the moment because I got to get the new gasket for these to make sure this thing is all sealed up really well and make sure it's all, you know, intact before I install the power band or install the wastegate. So that's the story. So let's get right into it. Put this thing right here and probably going to end this episode. Guys, so that's a wrap for this episode working on a Mustang. If you watch the whole video, if you're a loyal subscriber and you watch the whole video, you know how much we got done. We got done a lot of work. We got all the fuel system done, intake system, induction system, all the piping and plumbing. I feel like a plumber right now with all this system, which is kind of cool because I got to learn some stuff. But also guys, check out my Tesla project. I'm working on a 2015 Tesla that's been wrecked and it has electrical issues. I'm talking about high voltage electrical issues. But before we get to high voltage, I want to sort out a few other things. So check out that playlist right here. I'm gonna do a little link right here. So click on that, it's gonna take you to playlist of a Tesla. Check out those videos. Like, comment, subscribe as always, and I see you guys on the next one. Peace!